Hello everybody and welcome to just some random video that I just fancied doing because, to be completely blunt with you, I'm bored out of my mind. Now I'm recording this at 16:44. I don't have to go to work officially for at least another 2 hours. 2 more hours before I actually have to go into work, and today, in London, probably across the rest of England as well, has been the most miserable day of weather until literally the last half an hour where the sun has actually finally decided to come out. So I've done what I hate doing, which is staying in all day and doing nothing with my life other than scrolling through YouTube to see if there's any videos to watch, to get annoyed at, and then go on WWE Network to watch a pay-per-view, No Way Out 2002, which was absolutely appalling. Didn't even watch any of it. I just basically skipped through it just to see the NWO segments, really. And it kind of dawned on me, and I'm sure there will be somebody watching this, listening to this, going, yeah, I agree. It dawned on me today when I'm like, fucking hell, I really do miss the 3 p.m. kickoffs. Now, I know the football season hasn't actually started yet, but Christ almighty, when there's nothing to do on a Saturday and the one thing that's installed in our brains is Premier League football or 3 p.m. football. And when in a situation like today where you are bored out of your mind doing nothing and there's no football at all, you realise how much you actually enjoy either A, watching the 3 p.m. kickoffs, or tuning into Elite FPL, or watching the 12:30 kickoff, whatever. But blimey, this has been a very painful day, and yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's many people that during the off season struggle with what the hell to do. I nearly swore that, and even though I just swore a minute ago, wondering what to do with themselves. And I always, like, from my personal perspective, I always talk on my podcast about just go out and do something. But when it's been weather like this, which has essentially been not quite thunderstorms is a very strong term, but certainly between the hours of about 9 o'clock in the morning up to about 2, just rain. And then, like I said, over the last half hour the sun's finally come out, but of course I'm going to be wanting to get ready for work. What, it takes you 2 hours to get ready for work? Yes. I always personally choose to go into work. I get there about an hour, about 45 minutes early, because now they've got a canteen at my place of work. It essentially means that I'm actually able to eat food before I actually start my shift. And I just like to settle in before it's just straight into the action. Kick in, straight in the action there. Regarding mini leagues, so I'm sure there'll be some people wondering what's going on with the Elite FPL stuff. And basically, most of the leagues are either done by Jason or one of the moderators. The only league that I'm personally in control of is the YouTube chat league. Now, I've got a list over there where it contains all the names of the people that are going to be kept in the YouTube chat league and ones that are going to be added. Now, to be completely blunt with you, there is no way in hell I'm going to remember who was regular contributors in the chat to Elite FPL throughout the whole season. So basically, I just went to the final stream of the season. The last 2 streams that we did of the season. I went for the live chat, and I saw some regular contributors to the live chat, and I went, right, that person's in, and so on and so forth. So at some point I'll be releasing a video about who's going to be invited into, or the new people that have been invited into the league. I will be removing people as well, because there were people in that YouTube chat league when I was looking through it that I'm like, I didn't even hear from them once last season, so they'll be gone. I think I said at the end of the last season that I'll be keeping the top 10. That ain't going to be happening because there was quite a few people in the top 10 that didn't even contribute to anything to do with YouTube whatsoever. So I've kept it to the top 5 because at least the top 5, all of them guys contributed in some form to either YouTube comments underneath or during the live streams, during like chats and all that nonsense. And yeah, I won't be opening up that league until probably 2 weeks before the season kicks off. So yeah, we got about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks before I even open up that league. It's the same with Jason and the various other mini leagues that the moderators or Jason are in charge of. It won't be open for a while, but certainly next season, obviously, is the usual story from us. It's concentrating on the YouTube chat league, the rivals league, and the members league. Those are the 3 that we take very, very seriously. And like I keep banging on about, I think the one thing that I'm excited for this season is just the interaction with all of you guys, and you know, hoping that the structure. I know we keep banging on about this about a billion times. I get it, but over the past 3 years, let's get real here, since coronavirus, mine and Jason's lives have literally just been all over the place. Completely different work commitments, time zones, you name it, our lives have been all over the place. Whereas this season, we should be aligned, because as I keep banging on about, my evenings are going to be a lot more freer this time round. And I think me and Jason will be able to stick to a schedule within reason for this upcoming season. I think because of that, and I know I'm stating the obvious, it means that for you guys, you're going to know that, oh good, Elite FPL is going live on Friday at 8:30, whatever, I'm just making up numbers now. Oh good, Steve-O's doing his reaction stream on Saturday at 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then on Sundays, oh, Steve-O's doing his live stream for this, and then later on they're doing Sunday surgery at 9 o'clock. Whatever the schedule dictates, I think there'll be more of a structure. Well, in fact, I know it'll be more of a structure, so it means that you guys will be able to call in on I like to think on a regular basis and interact with myself and Jason. I always make this point every single year, I know, but next season I am going to be trying to make an effort to reach out to people I enjoy watching from the fantasy football community and get them involved in the show as well. I know that for argument's sake, Alex Vollo put up a tweet about the thumbnails that he's done for us, and hopefully we can work with him again. But he was making the point, I hope to see Andy Martin on the show again. And yeah, he is somebody that I'd like to get on. It's the same with Mark Southerns as I'm not going to reveal, but I was actually invited on to a channel, but unfortunately I couldn't go next week. But there's a possibility that I'll be getting in contact with the individual, and potentially I'll be on a channel in the near distant future. So something to look forward to there. And no, as I keep saying, I think with this community, I even spoke about on Total Stevo, that's going to be released on Monday. I was talking about how content creators are content creators creating content because they want to, because they have to, or both. Now, obviously, the majority of the conversation was revolved around OnlyFans and, you know, subject matters like that. But I was kind of like comparing, for instance, circumstances in which people like myself are just doing videos like this because I can, and I know there's somebody out there which appreciates these videos. As whether people think they're shit or not, I'm now at a stage with Elite FPL where I genuinely do not care. I think it was Colm put in the YouTube chat for example, video comments, and he just said, I don't see why anybody, and by the way, there are billions of people like this out there, but I don't see why you would go out your way to hate on something if you don't normally watch it. And and I wrote back saying the only criticism or constructive criticism I want to read is from loyal fans of the show or people that just watch on a regular basis. I do not want to be hearing from Smith187XY2. You know, I can laugh about it and I can joke about it, and yeah, occasionally sometimes it will trigger me into an emotion where I think, fuck you. But overall, you know, I would rather hear from somebody that's part of the community and go, you know what, I think Elite FPL wants to get to, I'd like to see there being a schedule next season, or I'd like to see more guests, or I want to think that you're going to do more short form videos, or whatever, you know. But bullshit about attacking mine and Jason's personalities, it ain't going to happen. Because as I explained on the Total Stevo podcast, I'm not a slave. Jason ain't a slave. I'm not an individual that's going to be dictated to by somebody, a profile somewhere across the world, to say that you are to do this. Like I said, with a member of the Elite FPL community that I have some form of regard for, and they give me some genuine feedback on something, fine, great. You know, a simple example would be maybe you could cut back on the swearing. Fair enough. But overall, when you kind of think to yourself, well, this is me as a personality, and yes, I can go a bit overboard on the swearing. I can already hear someone go, can? But in all seriousness, this channel is so DIY and independent that we're not going to appeal to the general public. This is your hardcore individuals that, like Warfare said on a post in the members chat, he watches Elite, or joins in with Elite FPL because of the community, and B, we're not shoving things down your throat. It's just me and Jason reacting to something that has happened, and we want to discuss our feelings. In fact, I've just seen a WhatsApp pop up on my laptop, and that just reminded me of this individual. His name's Cy Powell. He does some of the wrestling shows that I love, and I messaged him, and I wanted to compliment him on his the way he describes matches, or his reviews of old WCW along with Danny. And he came back, and because I was making the point, like, I just hate the fact that when I when I watch, for instance, this No Way Out 2002, and I'm going to do a review of it, I can't go into detail about the match action because I can't articulate my words enough, and I can't be bothered to write things down where I've got to go through move by move. I'd rather just give a natural reaction. And he actually said this, he goes, yeah, but that's why I enjoy listening to your WWE stuff. It's because it is just you as an individual giving your natural reaction to what you've watched. And this is the same with Elite FPL, isn't it? It's two individuals that are reacting naturally to something that is going on. You've got Jason, who openly admits that he just wants to walk away and not want to talk to the camera, where there's me that's throwing his toys at the pram, smashing the bedroom up and throwing piss everywhere. And people either love it or hate it. And as I keep banging on about, you've got very, very, very large channels like Arsenal Fan TV as an example, where it's evolved to the point of where now they're not like what they used to be. Now, I'm not one to talk it because I don't really watch Arsenal Fan TV, but whenever I have tuned in, specifically the live streams, I'm bored. I've just got four individuals that are playing it safe. That, again, I use Mark Goldbridge as the prime example of it's clear to me that he's been told, try to keep down on the swearing. The more you swear, the less we're going to get pushed, and more importantly, the less we're going to get monetized. So keep the swearing to a minimum. That's why, as I explained to Nuclear Atoms, and I know I've said this 1,000 times, is that when watching live streams with Mark Goldbridge, you've got this instant natural reaction of something that's happened against Man United, something gone against Man United, and then within 2 or 3 seconds, he goes back to playing it safe, and you're like, Now, it doesn't take away my enjoyment of consuming the rest of the show, but certainly the moment for me is taken away, because you've got a bloke who's going absolutely mad, and I use the game against, was it Chelsea in the FA? No, Man City in the FA Cup, wasn't it? And Gundogan scored after 15 seconds. Bang! He went off, and literally it was like a light switch went off, and he was like, "Oh shit, rein it in." And I was like, And use Arsenal Fan TV. Now, you know, whatever this DT did has happened. But certainly me, as an individual watching someone like DT, it was mesmerising. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think that the whole persona of him got to his head, and he played on a lot of it. But if you watch the early videos, fantastic. Genuinely fantastic watching DT talking about Arsenal. Yeah, you may not like the guy, and whether you agree with his opinion or not, what you're watching is, wow, it's a real person giving his true thought processes on what's happened with Arsenal. Whereas, for argument's sake, you know, Nuclear Atoms sent me some videos of expressions and said, "Oh, you may like this guy," and I immediately I said, "I'm not even going to watch this, because I cannot stand the guy. A complete muppet. Just this character. This buffoon." Now, there will be someone watching this go, "Nah, he's amazing, he's brilliant." Yeah, but for a bloke in his 30s, I really do not want to watch it. It just appeals to children. And like I say, it's the same with Elite FPL, isn't it? People don't really want to be, and I know I keep banging on about this, but like I said, I'm bored out of my mind. I'm just trying to pass time, and I hope I'm passing your time as well. You know, people don't want to be tuning in to someone like myself, just, why the effing hell is this not bloody happening, and so on and so forth, you know. Unfortunately, with the world of FPL, as we've discussed to death, it's just about tips, which links me beautifully into this, where if anybody uses Twitter or follows anything to do with social media, do you think there's some form of agenda going on with the actual game itself / the content creators? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm bored of it already. Just this, gotta keep posting up drafts to keep engagement. Now again, I talked about this on Total Stevo. This constant need, the engagement to get in the algorithm, to get more and more followers. With the official FPL as an example, today they were clearly promoting big content creators' first drafts, and they were just retweeting them. And I'm thinking, has it really got to this now? Like, there's engagement with the fans, but there's taking it to a level where it's just like, we're trying to get in with the cool kids, with the big content creators, by showing us the draft, so it means that the official fantasy Premier League game gets pushed into the algorithm, so more eyes are on the game. Like, I get it, but it's just boring. And then when you look at all the teams, they're virtually the same. There's a template like my team up in front of you, and this is the thing, when you consume X amount of content, there will be a template formed, and you know, in fact, I've got the piece of paper here, haven't I? You know, I've got my team selected, which have got decent opening 5 fixtures, and I've kind of, within reason, built a team around those opening 5 fixtures. Now, obviously, with information coming through across the pre-season, certain things may change, like for argument's sake, and this is one of the few good things about content creators, or just following people that you have some high regard for. Andy, Let's Talk FPL, tweeted about the Brentford goalkeeper, the new one. Is it Flecken? Bloody hell, Steve-O. Did some research, and he just said if Raya goes, this Flecken could be the one to go for, and I agree. Brentford's opening several fixtures are pretty solid, and I'm happy with them. And do you know what? I'd rather him probably than over an Everton goalkeeper, because I do think that Everton will be struggling this season, along with the likes of Sheffield United, Luton, Wolves, Bournemouth, to name 4 or 5. And I think, do I really want to go with a goalkeeper that's going to be in a relegation threatened team? Or do I want to go with a goalkeeper that apparently was very, very good in the Bundesliga? He's been signed by Brentford. Brentford are a very good team. It's just there in front of you, isn't it? So basic information like that. But certainly, what I've been noticing from a lot of these content creators is just pushing this kind of agenda of just, and it, like I said, this is why I kind of, and Bilal, I know Bilal agrees with this whole thing of like, this is why people like myself just try and overlook it, but it's impossible because it's just in your face, where it's just stop listening to this stuff or watching this stuff. Because within reason, and by the way, I'm fully understanding as to why large content creators do this, is because it's their income. They have to do it. They're like any business. You know, these content creators are, you know, they're their own business, but at a tiny level compared to like the likes of Nike, Adidas. But these large organizations will just keep constantly pushing adverts on you. You know, you're on flaming YouTube at the moment. What's being pushed? Is it TripAdvisor or Booking.com? I would happily punch that woman in the fucking face. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you clearly don't watch YouTube, or you're paying for YouTube Premium, Max Roberts. But in all seriousness, it's these large organisations just push it in your fucking face. And this is what it seems to be with FPL throughout the whole season, or even worse during this pre-season right now. It's just the same content shoved in your face, the same tweets, just slightly different wording. And for me, again, it's the job. They have to do something. Because when you go into this world of YouTube, where it is your full-time job, you've got to adhere to rules. It's like my mate Steve says all the time. If you want to become a full-time YouTuber or Twitcher or whatever, you've got to follow specific rules. At least with, for argument's sake, with Elite FPL, we don't really have to follow any rules. We do. But the reality of the situation is, like, if you want to support the show, you can become a member if you wish. You can super chat. You can just hit a like button, comment on the video or whatever. But I don't have to be going, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all this. Make sure you hit the fucking notification bell, all this nonsense. By the way, this isn't just FPL. I'm talking any YouTube. I mean, I always use one of the guys that I subscribe to, Jeff Marshall, that does the YouTube, the underground tube station stuff. And I thought it was tragic the other week, where it felt like he was trying to push people towards his Twitter account on his YouTube channel, or via his YouTube channel. So he put up a post on YouTube and it said words to the effect of, I don't know if anybody can see my Twitter account because it's gone down at the moment, but if you could go to @JeffMarshall, and if you want to follow me, by all means do, because then that will show that my Twitter account is working. You're like, dude, are you really that desperate to get followers, additional followers to your 136,000 followers you've already got, or whatever it is, that you need to be constantly promoting this stuff? Like, no, you're not. The answer is no. You're in the YouTube world now. This is the path you've chosen. Fine, no problem with that. You've got to adhere to rules. But stop this fake nonsense. You know, in like the when I was bored at home today, for argument's sake, and I'm lying on my bed and I was like, oh yeah, that guy. And it's this American bloke that moved to London 10 years ago. And he had a clickbait title, and it said 10 mistakes tourists make in London. And I thought, well, I've seen some of your stuff before, and it's very, very well edited together. This is a clickbait title. Fuck it, let's watch it. And yeah, it's clean, it's tidy, but it's not real. It's not like a normal person. And ironically, I mean, I'm not really having to go at Jeff Marshall, but it's why I'm Jeff Marshall appeals to someone like me, because it's not fake. It's just a normal everyday bloke that, yes, okay, YouTube is his job now, but it's not this clean cut style video that he puts together. It's just a normal bloke that just goes to tube stations, talks about the tube station, and if he comes across one of his fans, he gets them involved. If he comes across, if he wants to invite one of his friends that lives in the area, he will do. And there's a genuine charm to it. But when I watch this American guy, and for anybody to describe him that may recognise him, he's got like long hair and glasses. I just watch it and I go, yeah, the information's there. It's bang on the money. It's very, very, very clean. But Christ almighty, like, your life, I can see, is just spent in front of a laptop or a phone all day. And this is the thing, like, I mean, I'm not going to name the individual, but someone that I know has been complaining of basically having to be sat at a desk all day and just staring at a computer screen, and no matter what they're trying to do, they're hating it. And this is why sometimes I've got to be grateful for the work that I do, because at least I get out and about. At least I'm actually active. I'm actually doing something, and I get to interact with lots of people. Whereas in an office space, it does, like me doing this delivery job, it does come across as like, again, I could be completely wrong, it does come across as a very lonely job. It's come across as a very lonely job. You're just centered at one little small space. You're dedicated to that PC, and you're dedicated to that one individual customer or whatever. Whereas at least for me, I get out there. If I choose to walk to work, which I'm kind of not doing today, but if I choose to walk to work and listen to a podcast, I will do, and I'm just kind of getting out there. But in an office space, I mean, my brother was telling me about this hotel he has to go to, and how the receptionist is just so miserable. And it's like, well, yeah, unfortunately, and I understand, I genuinely understand the frustration, because me and my brother are very similar. Like, we're getting out there, we do things, and when we come across these individuals that are just sat at a desk and they spend like 7-8 hours a day just staring in front of the thing, it's just like you just become a blob. And any form of interaction is just via a phone. That's it. And just emailing all day. Like, but yeah, going back to the whole thing, I don't even know why I brought that up, to be honest with you, but going back to the whole adhering to the YouTube rules and everything, I'm just kind of glad that me and Jason are in a place where it's like, thank fuck we don't have to be sponsored by something that, in fact, I'll be completely transparent. Obviously, I'm not going to name the company, but a company has reached out to us, and I'm sure that, in fact, I can probably guarantee that every single content creator is going to be sponsored by this particular company. But they've reached out to us, and at first I thought it was spam, and I just said to Jason, forget it, not interested. And then they've actually messaged us again to clarify if we got the message or not, because we didn't respond and everything, and I haven't opened up the message. I'm going to let Jason deal with all that. But I'm not being funny, but not interested. For what? What are we going to get out of this, apart from, yeah, make sure you sign up to this game. Make sure you sign up to this game, and if we get 50 people joining up, we get a tenner. By the way, I've just made those figures up, but you just like, I don't need to be doing this. Like, could you imagine this? I'm just chatting away this bullshit right now and just go, by the way, I forgot to mention Colgate toothpaste. If you want shitty teeth like mine, use Colgate. 10% discount. Go to tesco.com. Use the code Elite FPL 10. Imagine that every 10 minutes. Not literally. Get your Colgate. Again, the big channels will get a decent payout of these people. But honestly, like I've discussed to death on the Total Steeler podcast, I've personally heard plenty of podcasts out there of influencers that talk about essentially how they're just miserable individuals that hate what they do. But they've got to do it. They have to do it because it pays the bills. Whereas in the FPL community, it's such a small little market that, like I say, the biggest channel out there is Annie, Let's Talk FPL. And she's got 350,000 subscribers, and that's the biggest channel out there. But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, within the FPL world, that's ginormous. But in the grand scheme of things in the YouTube world, it's absolutely nothing. Then you look at all the other big popular channels out there, and yeah, you got like the likes of FPL Mate and Focal that have got 100,000. I think Mate's got 100,000 subscribers or something. And yeah, that like I say, that their job is just pushing this content. But when you've got like the likes of the actual game now seeming to trying to get involved, and as we all know, the other day they did it via Twitter, the price reveals, like, yeah, it's great, but I don't. This whole agenda of really pushing the game and making it more and more popular, it's getting a bit like, for me, I just find it's getting a bit desperate, because as we all know, of the 11 million people that play, like, how many are bots, how many are second accounts, how many are third accounts? In some ways, I think the people like myself and various other people that are watching this that are hardcore followers of FPL would actually rather see them just implement changes to the game itself to make it more enjoyable, to make it better. Possibly. Focus on that. Anyway, I think I've waffled on enough now. As I always say, thanks for taking your time out to watch, and see you whenever.